So we are back with a special conversation about what is really relevant and important. COVID-19 put tremendous pressure on the pharmaceutical industries to get new treatments, vaccines to patients very quickly. So with this global economy halted and millions of people getting sick or dying, the past 16 months has highlighted how critical the industry of pharmaceutical is for the humanity. So Siemens has a long history in healthcare, and we know we need to act fast to support our partners and contribute however we can in this global effort. So we set up a task force to fast track and adapt solutions to accelerate the entire value chain of research, development, and manufacture to new therapies and new vaccines. So I'm joined with Rebecca Vangenechten, the head of the pharma segment at Siemens, to explore how we were able to help our customers speed up production while maintaining quality and safety standards, and the lessons learned we had that we can apply to both normal operations but also in future crises. So Rebecca, my first question would be, what was the most significant success story from the pharma task force, and what was the key learning, what you would take away?
Well, our Siemens Pharma Accelerator for COVID-19 Therapeutics, as we call the task force, or in short, ASPECT, was founded exactly 1 year ago on the 1st of April 2020, and it always had two purposes, Eckard. On the one hand, prioritizing all projects that we saw in the industry related to COVID-19, but on the other hand, as a technology company, also challenging our customers to try out new ways, because as you said it before, speed is everything now, and it's really a race against time. For me personally, the biggest success is actually that we managed to do both for many more customers, for many more pharma companies than I would have ever imagined we would be in touch with, and that we did so in a truly global fashion. So we have projects ongoing from Australia to China, over Russia, Europe, US, Latin America. Every country, I think, almost is being tapped into, including also many countries in the Middle East. And that, for me personally, is also the key takeaway, is that if we really want to, we can truly utilize the power of Siemens if we get focused, if we find a common purpose. And we did in Siemens what the industry is doing, that is collaborating together. Yeah, industry is sharing production capacity, is exchanging R&D information, and exactly in the same manner, we as a DI and SI teams globally, we're doing so in this task force.
So I think this is remarkable, and the question now, how has the process changed? You know, it was all about speed, and we had companies which were developing a vaccine within almost 12 months. Mm-hmm. So how has this process changed from lab to the market since COVID-19, and what would you predict also for that, what it means for the future?
Right. Well, the process as such hasn't really changed. So in this entire product development life cycle for pharma, the same quality milestones still have to be met, and it's not that we're skipping steps here. I think the biggest change is that there is a whole different kind of prioritization that has happened within the companies, within the pharma companies, as well as with the authorities prioritizing these COVID approvals. So that's the biggest change. But of course, this acceleration that I was talking about and challenging the pharma industry in going new ways, the second purpose, if you like, of the task force, that we have put into play here, and by doing, for example, or introducing technologies like process analytical technology or simulation to help indeed to accelerate things and to come quicker to the market in these remarkable 12 months, as you said it yourself, which normally would take many, many years to do so.
And I think this is something which is very actual and very interesting, because all patients, societies are expecting to get the vaccines of a high quality and which are reliable, sustainable, and safe. I think, therefore, there is no compromise on how this has been developed or produced. So what were the standout technologies that the task force used to speed up the process within the customer's value chains? A little bit about this topic of digital twin and how we address it.
Yeah, digital twin is actually a good example there, because we have many examples, small and big steps I think we took with regards to innovation here. And it's interesting to see now how such a pandemic crisis at least has something positive, and that is that it has sparked a lot of innovation and mindset change, where I personally think we wouldn't have been able to come as fast to an adoption as we have it now, thanks to COVID, if I can say so. Yeah, my personal highlight from the task force is that of a project that we did for Pfizer. Pfizer being BioNTech's partner in this in the vaccine area there of COVID-19, and we built for them in a very short time frame a digital process twin of one of their crucial process steps that was in this mRNA mixing process, where they were having certain challenges in understanding the quality and the critical process parameters, critical quality attributes. And so we used computational fluid dynamics as well as artificial intelligence and machine learning in order to really, in this virtual environment, in this digital twin, as we call it, to simulate certain things much faster in these in silico experiments than what we would normally be doing in a lab or in a small scale production environment, really being able to help Pfizer to accelerate things and to much quicker come to certain findings. Because as you can imagine, Eckard, they are under tremendous time pressure, and this really helped them to get very, very fast, a very stable process ongoing.
So this brings me also, because you talked about that somehow already, to the topic of continuous manufacturing, because I think this is a big theme now in the pharmaceutical industry. So it's not a new concept, because we see this in some other industries as well, but it hasn't been used that much in the pharmaceutical industry. So do you see any new trends, perhaps also from the other industries, and lessons learned what we could take maybe also from pharma into other areas? Because I think having this example of high-speed implementation is something which might make a big difference to other industries as well. So maybe the two sides.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's no secret for people who are somewhat involved or know the pharmaceutical industry that pharma is not known to be the most innovative in previous years. Yeah, pharma has always been known as a very highly regulated industry, which was at the same time the excuse to change things in a running process or to go for innovative approaches. Having said that, I would say the last 10 years or so, there is a true mindset change, and from the industry itself and from the authorities that are still heavily controlling that industry. And without jeopardizing on quality, as that is always the number one thing in pharma that goes above and beyond efficiency or cost control, etc. Without jeopardizing on quality, we do see that pharma makes it possible nowadays to introduce new technologies and to gain that level of flexibility that is necessary if you want to, for example, run a process in a continuous manner. No? Because if you're running your process in a continuous manner, you have to sometimes also still adjust your process parameters. And if you want to stay fixed, then that's a paradigm, yeah, that won't work to begin with. And I think that this change in the industry nowadays is going even so far that we see that pharma is starting to become, on one or the other topic, the front runner. And other industries, as you put your question, other industries are actually learning from pharma, be it around modularization, so the whole plug and produce principle, be it around personalized medication, which is something that definitely, of course, also has an impact on how we are putting our manufacturing processes forward, be it around logistics, which much stronger integration of inbound and outbound logistics through and manufacturing through ways of, for example, electronic battery cord integration. So many things that are being probed in pharma, where I think later on other industries might be benefiting from, and that's new, because pharma was always the one lagging behind, and now there could be potentially the ones showing the way.
So we've been seeing and learning that the supply chain and the way the vaccines are coming together is somewhat very complicated. A lot of contribution of different materials and substances from different suppliers are coming together. So how important were these forging new partnerships in the success for this pharma task force? Because I think this is something essential, right?
Absolutely, and still ongoing now. So we're still finding our way into how we can further develop logistics, being one topic, and a partner there that the pharma team has discovered, I would say, and where we have again seen the power of Siemens. Is our own colleagues from Siemens Healthineers, who have developed certain platforms around KPIs, around dashboarding, around planning of vaccinations that actually is the missing piece of the puzzle, if you like, for our customers who are coming from the manufacturing side. So that's now a new collaboration that we're exploring and positioning in the market in order to indeed close that gap now between the deliveries of vaccines on the one hand and then the distribution centers mainly driven by governments on the other hand. So a good example, I think, of further collaboration possible.
So the regulative bodies are playing a very important role in this whole game, because I think we have to make sure that people are safe. So how did the regulators play in this thing, helping, slowing down processes, accelerating? Because I think this was a very important piece in the whole game. And I'm aware we are working for quite a while with regulators in order to flexibilize also on the processes which we are developing, because things are changing very fast. So what's your view on this?
As we said before, so it was, first of all, there was a lot to do with prioritizing these files, these dossiers, to make sure, obviously, because this is a topic for humanity to not being lying around and sitting on the waiting list. So obviously these files were prioritized by authorities, and I think what has helped them to come to faster conclusions is topics around digitalization, and that filing was done in a much more electronic way, linked to, again, what we said previously on understanding the process and knowing exactly that we have these processes under control and that we have quality built in by design rather than by accident or by checking it. And all of that put together and integrating all of that, where Siemens has a broad portfolio of doing so and a long experience as well, is contributing to this overall picture of getting them these vaccines, these medications, these medical devices, these diagnostic tools approved in a really fast track approach compared to what we're used to in the industry. And the question now, of course, arises: what about the future, and what about what are the lessons learned there for now the non-COVID therapeutics, and can we actually adapt these principles also for other areas of medication, which I truly hope so for the community.
So I assume we learned a lot in this process, and I think there are two things what are really essential. One thing is we can be proud that we could contribute as a company to accelerate the whole process in order to make sure that we really help the humanity in being faster with vaccinations on the place, because I think this is the most important thing at the moment to help people. On the other side, we will learn a lot and will be able to transfer a lot on how to generate speed in the development of drugs, vaccinations, and so on. I think this is something we can learn on. So thank you very much, Rebecca. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Eckard.
Thank you. And once again, please check on the Transformina website for more about the technologies that are transforming our everyday. Thank you very much.